Hi. Sorry, my mic was muted. Uh, Not like the mute rapper, more like. Hey, someone said the Juluminati is in the house. You'll see it. It's the Jews. Yeah, we are in the building. Okay, people that control the world. They are financing this, of course. Hello, Jazz. Nice to see you. Hello, King of Current. Say, what do you use to edit your videos, Frank? I use a Premiere Pro. I use Premiere Pro to edit the video. I use CapCut to add the captions. Hi, Jess. How is South Africa? King of Current said the mute rapper. Yeah, I'm not the. I want to be a good Christian today. Nobody should remind me of that video. Hey, hi Frank. It's nice to see you. Nice to see you too. Nice to see all of you coming in. Nice to see all of you. Nice to see you, friend. Not you. Fresh Toast. Nice to see you. On my knees for Christ. JOOZ sent me here. They are doing a very wonderful thing. Frank, you're doing God's work. God loves you, mate. So dangerous what you're doing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that you're amongst the other people. There are a lot of people who do recognize this, Although people who are my critics don't. They believe that they are paying me billions. Some people don't recognize that me being in Nigeria and saying some of the things that I'm saying, can put you in a very deadly situation. And God has been our strength. We cannot complain. Let me not read that out. It's chilly tonight. It has been cold in Nigeria. It's cold over here for a couple of days. Although it's not raining, this is the raining season in Nigeria. But over here, where I'm staying, it has not rained for a while. But the weather is just cold, very cold. Yeah, it's not usual. It's not usual, and I'm very sure that what I'm describing as cold for people who live in places like Poland or even the UK, for them that's like summer for them. What I'm describing as cold is like summer for them, but for Nigerians, that's what we describe as cold. What's today's temperature? Let me check. Temperature in Nigeria. 27 degrees. Let me check my specific location. The same thing, 27 degrees. So 27 degrees is what I'm defining as cold. When some people, for them, cold is like minus 10. Actually, I mean, what can I say? God placed me in this country. I cannot complain. And 27 degrees Celsius, not Fahrenheit. For those who are watching us from America, we use Celsius over here. So yeah. How is everyone? How is everyone doing? How are you all doing? French to say that's hotter than UK now. Exactly. And people over there will be like, it's summer. Is the is the heat is on. And I'm like, you don't mean it. Tell me about heat. Different part of the world, different climate. It's very interesting. This is I don't know how to pronounce your username. Saying hello. Yeah, hello to you too. I want to know where you are watching us from. Yeah. Someone said I should add to StreamYard links to connect me. Okay, let me do that now. Give me a second. Why I'm doing this is to give everybody opportunity, as in those who are still on their way, to give those people the opportunity to tune in, something like that. Because if we begin, and as we begin, we just go straight to the topic. Some people will meet us halfway and they will not know what we are talking about. So let me use this opportunity to just talk about random stuff before we get to the business of today. Of course, today we are going to be looking at the Holy Quran, the final speech of Allah. The link to my Twitter, which is the one I want people to go and check me out on. is in the pinned comment on YouTube. For those watching from Instagram, you will not be able to see some of these messages, but I hope you can still, have the best viewing experience from Instagram. People usually from YouTube, watch us from YouTube, but I'm trying to extend that option to those on Instagram so that they can also see us. I can see Shena Zion saying, "Hey Frank," from the United States. Wow, she just finished a 4. Sorry, you guys cannot see this. This is from those who are watching us from Instagram. She said she just finished a 4 hours live stream, needed a break, and that she will check later. And Hashmisa on Instagram is saying Modi won in India. Yes, he did. Although from what I'm getting, although I don't have the full details of how that election went, what people are saying about Modi's victory is that it was narrow. It was not like, it wasn't business as usual for his party. And even in Uttar Pradesh, where I think it's Uttar Pradesh, I'm not sure whether that's the place, where the temple, the new temple of Hindu temple was erected, that even in that province or whatever it is called, that he didn't win in that province, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if that is usually the case, because sometimes the media will highlight something and be like, even in this particular location where so and so thing happened, this person did not win. And if you check, you realize that has always been the case. That even in the past, this political party, this political candidate has not won in that province, but it'll make it look like, this is damaging. This to show that his popularity is dwindling or something like that. Well, I can't tell. I don't stay in India, and I've not really looked closely into the whole issue that's going on in India. Anyways, let me move back to my to my people on YouTube. King of Current is saying Modi lost his majority. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. And that Muslims voted as a bloc. I think that's how they've always voted in India. I don't think he has ever gotten, like, he has that Muslim vote locked, he has it locked or something. No, I don't think that's the case. So yeah. So I said the mute rapper was very funny. Well, Africa to the world. No, Congo to the world. We have to be specific. Sometimes things you have to specify where it is coming from. Congo to the world. It's not easy. It's not easy to have Congo on the map. So yeah. And this is sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your username. She's telling us that Uttar Pradesh has a lot of Muslims and they all voted against Modi. Yeah, and I can understand why they did that, right? Because they don't like the fact that he erected a temple. Sorry, I'm laughing because I just saw this comment. Can we stop talking about the mute rapper? Okay, this live stream is not about the mute rapper. It's about something more unintelligible, something more nonsensical, which is the Quran. Yes, I said it. The Muslims. I'm waiting to see. Abdullah's support Palestine. This is your moment. I hope I've not lost you, Abdullah. I'm hoping you'll be here to see me talk about the Quran. The Quran you've been telling me to read. Okay. Unlike Muhammad, I can't read, so I'm going to read. Okay. Yeah, that's what we'll be talking about today. And next dude from Instagram is telling me, Frank, one name. Now I'm here for you people. I'm here. Oh, I'm here. Hey, Chitana, okay. Not working. Okay. You have to be brave to lean into Mujahid, why based in Nigeria. What are they going to do to me? What are they going to do to me, huh? What can they do to me? They can't do anything to me. And like Jesus said, they can destroy the body, but they cannot destroy the soul. So there's that. Jesse said, agree with me. Yes, where is Abdullah? Where? Guys, we've not gotten into the business of today. Okay, we are getting there slowly, but we are getting there. The business of today is discussing Surah Al-Baqarah. That's the title of the live stream. You guys can see it. Surah Al-Baqarah. That's what we'll be talking about today. Okay. So and we'll be looking at it. Believe me, sorry, if you hear me say believe me, that is how Nigerians talk sometimes. It's our own version of English. and sometimes it just comes out of my mouth. I forget that I'm talking to an international audience. So when you hear "believe me," you just know the Nigerian is talking. Okay, so believe me, when I was reading Surah Al-Baqarah, I almost converted. Like at one point, I was like, "Yeah, this is it. What is the shahada? I need to say the shahada, and finally submit to Allah, like Abraham, Isaac, Ishmael, and Jacob. So yeah, it was a powerful thing. It was an encounter, like Nigerian pastors would say. It was a very powerful encounter. The people who said I should read the Surah Al-Baqarah, they were right. There's something about it. I will be talking about that today. What else? What else can we talk about before we get into? What other questions do you guys have before we get into the topic of today? Hey, Flipping Bullock is in the chat. Flipping Bullock, how are you? How are you? This is flicking, not flipping. Why do I keep saying flipping? Flicking, rather. Yeah. Yeah, so I almost, it was close, this close, but it didn't happen. Yeah, this is Moody still in power for the next 5 years. Let's hope, he kind of quiets down the because the things that happen in India with regards to, especially in Muslim majority areas, like we remember that news we covered also from Uttar Pradesh, right, where two Muslim brothers killed the children of the kids, their neighbors' kids, two of them, slit them with the throat with a razor blade. That happened in Uttar Pradesh, and I hope he's going to do something. I don't know how the political system in India is like, or what goes on there, but some of the news I see that they are like really, grim. And then there is Pakistan. Jesus Christ, Pakistan is somewhere else. Is really somewhere else. If you're a religious minority, Pakistan is not it's not the place for you. Especially like Punjab, right? Those areas, that's not the place for you. Like, Jesus Christ. The news from that area is really something else. And of course, I'm saying it's what I actually mean from what I'm saying is that in areas like Uttar Pradesh in India, and in places like where the Punjabis are in Pakistan, that's where you see the oasis, right? The oasis, the utopia of Sharia, right? That's where you see it. That's where it is heavily manifested. And before we proceed, please, guys, remember, if you don't know this yet, this channel, one of the things that is keeping us going is the support we get from Zionists, the support we get from Mossad, is the support we get from our overlord from Israel. So if you are one of those people watching us, and I don't mean Israel, I don't mean Israelis, okay? I mean, if you love what we are doing and you are a fan of this channel, please support this live stream, send your super chats, send your super stickers, become a member. The membership is on, become a member. And one thing you should know is why we are even discussing Surah Al-Baqarah today is because of our members, right? I issued out the challenge that if I get 100 membership, I'll go through 10 chapters of the Quran. And this is the second chapter that we are going through. We've gone through Surah Al-Baqarah in a video, not a live stream. But I mean Surah Al-Fatiha in a video, not a live stream. And I decided to go through Surah Al-Baqarah in this live stream because it is long. Okay, and I didn't want to make a 30-minute video, and I did a 30-minute video. That is too much work. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to create a slide, and I'm going to present that slide so you guys understand what I have been reading. And yeah, so that is why it is called. That is to make you understand why you are seeing this video. It's because of our members, and you can become one today by clicking on that join button. And also remember to support the channel. Also hit that like button, hit it, smash it, especially those who are on Instagram. Hit that like button, okay? And share this. Let people know that okay, we are live right now. And also on YouTube, do the same thing too. Smash the like button. If you are not yet, if you've not yet subscribed, please subscribe. Also, another important thing that I need to mention is I think there need to be a drum roll for this one. There need to be a drum roll for this one. There is a very strong likelihood that next week I'm going to have a very special guest. Okay, I've been talking with him and we fixed the date, we fixed time, we fixed the time. We've scheduled the live stream and it's going to happen next week, Friday. Very special guest. And if you want to know who the guest is and you want to know when the live stream will happen, it's going to happen most likely on Friday. Of course, nothing is written in stone, but there's every likelihood that it's going to be on Friday from the discussion I've been having with this person. And if you don't want to miss that, believe me, it is going to be a very awesome live stream. And this guest is somebody you guys have requested over and over and over again. Okay, so subscribe, tell a friend, tell people. Okay, and make sure you follow me so that you know. You'll see my community notes, or you'll notice when the live stream is going up, and then you can join. I'm telling you, it's going to be an interesting live stream. And yeah. So this is a super chat from Jazz. She said, jizya to make sure you can pay your jizya. We need you, Frank, and we are proud of that. Exactly. We are proud of that 100%. On this channel, we are proud of what our Muslim brothers are doing. They are making us proud. Always making us proud. Just said Dealwood in the house. 78 said Nigerian perspective. Can we talk about 24% Muslim apostate rate outgrowing their triumphant so-called high birth rate, and so they will not get their caliphate? I'm not sure I understand what I just read. Current is asking, is it David Wood? Is it CP? Who is CP? Christian Prince? Or is that who CP? Sorry, I know who CP is. Christian Prince. Well, just subscribe. Okay? If you stay to the end of this video, if you stay till the end, I may just tell you who it is. What is the current state of Boko Haram? They are waxing strong. Sorry, I have this. You guys already know by now that I have a crazy way of breaking bad news. They are waxing strong. Their latest attack was where again? I think I think they had recent activity. Yes. In Niger State, where they kidnapped. How many people did they kidnap? I've forgotten. I think 160 people were kidnapped in Niger State. Yes. So yeah. Hey, Shana is here. Finally, you left. You were able to join us. I hope it's not going to be hectic after your 4-hour live stream. She's here with us, and let's see how it goes. All right, let's talk about Surah Al-Baqarah. Let's go straight to it. All right. I hope you guys can see this, my slide. Or do I need to increase? No, I don't want to increase it. Okay. I hope my slide is visible. It's visible for everyone to see. Let me check something out. Yes, it is visible. I can confirm. Is the slide visible? Let me not conclude based on from my end that it is visible, because I can see it from how. Okay, I believe people can see it. All right. Today we'll be talking about Surah Al-Baqarah, and of course, Surah Al-Baqarah means the cow. That's the title of the surah, of this chapter of the Quran. It's the second chapter of the Quran, and it is called the cow because of the story. The way the Quran works is certain chapters are named after a chapter is named after something that is said in that chapter, or a recurring theme in that chapter. And something about this surah is it talks about the Jews, talks about how unfaithful they are to God. Like the thumbnail to this video said, this surah has a Jewish obsession. It does 100%. There's this obsession with the Jews, and I get it. Like if you read the Bible, especially the Old Testament talk about the Jews, the New Testament talk about the Jews in a way, but it's understandable, right? Because the Old Testament is written by Jews to Jews. So if the Jews are mentioned like 1,000 times, I get it, right? Yes, you're talking, is a Jew writing to Jews, or is God using a Jewish prophet to talk to his people who are Jews? The New Testament talking about the Jews makes sense. I mean, the writers were Jews, and most of the people that we are writing to, we are Jews, except when you talk about the epistles that we are mostly written to Gentiles. And the epistles, because the epistles are mostly written to Gentiles, you realize that the Jews are only mentioned like based on the fact that Jesus is a Jew, and this Messiah come from the Jew, the Messiah who is Jesus Christ, came from Israel. So it makes sense to talk about Jewish theology if you're going to try to explain what Christians believe, right? There is the connection. We see that connection. The connection is there, right? And but even then in the New Testament, when you look at the epistles, you see that mostly when the apostles are referring to the Jews, referring to Abraham, they are or talking about them, not really referring to them, talking about them. I mean, first of all, it's only the book of Hebrews that looks like it is written to the Jews, and the book of John, right? That's the Gospel of John. All the Gospels seem like they were written, not all of them, sure, but the book of John, especially the Gospel of John, is written to the Jews. I know that, and I think Matthew as well. So there's that. Am I sure Matthew is written to the Jews? But I know the Gospel of John is written to the Jews. When it comes to the epistles, Hebrews, the epistle to the Hebrews is written to the Jews. That's why it is called the book of Hebrews, right? But every other epistle is written to Gentiles, written to the Corinthians, written to the Galatians, written to the Ephesians, written to people, Christians in different Roman cities, right? And when you read those, you realize that there's this focus on talking to people who are non-Jews, people who are Gentiles, like the Bible refers to them as Gentiles, Romans, Corinthians, people from outside Israel, right? That's what you notice in this epistle. Sorry, I'm talking about the Bible here when I'm supposed to be talking about the Quran, but I want to use it to explain something, which is that except when you read the book of Hebrews, that's the only epistle that you see a heavy emphasis of this is a letter written to the Jews. So the Jews, many Jewish analogies, Old Testament analogies is abundant in the book of Hebrews. But when you read Romans, it's only the beginning, the first, let's say, first 10 chapters that has that where Paul is essentially explaining the gospel to the Romans. When you read the book, when you read Corinthians, is Paul trying to correct mistakes that are made in the church, like especially the church of Corinth. When you read Ephesians, you see Paul is encouraging the Ephesian Christians. When you see the Galatians, Paul is trying to correct they are trying to please God by appealing to the law. So you see the mention of the Jewish law. So every mention of the Jews or something Jewish in the New Testament there's a reason for it, right? There's a reason for it, and it makes sense within the context of the New Testament why the Jews should be spoken about or spoken to. But in the Quran, especially Surah Al-Baqarah, to me it doesn't make sense, because, and this is why I feel it doesn't make sense. This is the opening chapter of the Quran, supposed to be addressing Muslims, and yes, it does address Muslims. But most of the verses in Surah Al-Baqarah addresses Jews, talks to the Jews, like it's from I think 56 to like 100 and something. 56 chapters and more, or 56 verses and more, talking about the Jews, talking to the Jews. Okay, and for me, I'm like, I don't think it's necessary, but who knows? That's just my personal opinion. So yeah, Surah Al-Baqarah means the cow, and the name has to do with the story of the Israelites worshiping a golden calf, which was a story that was mentioned in this surah. It is the longest chapter of the Quran, the longest. I've forgotten how many verses it has. And some parts one thing you need to understand about the Quran is some part is disjointed. Like every revelation in a chapter was not revealed at once. That's the funny thing about the arrangement of the Quran that I find interesting, is that every verse in a chapter was not revealed at once. Like it wasn't revealed at once. Some were revealed here, some were revealed there, some were revealed at this time. But when they were compiling it together, they said, "Oh, let's compile these chapters thematically," and then we put these couple of verses together, even though they were not revealed at the same time. It's kind of interesting how the Quran is written, bro. Yeah, so some parts we are revealed in Mecca, other parts in Medina. And I know you guys are already bored, but bear with me because even the even the surah is sleep inducing. The surah is sleep inducing. You know, when I want to read, when Muslims tell you to read the Quran, they say read it with an open mind. Read it with an open mind. But I think the real advice is read it, or the real challenge is read it with open eyes. Okay? Try to keep your eyes open while you are reading it because it is sleep inducing. And yes, it is a diss to the Jews disguised as divine revelation. That's something that I that's how I saw, that's my view of Surah Al-Baqarah. It's like Allah or Muhammad is just dissing the Jews, but disguising it as, oh, Angel Gabriel is talking to me. And please try and enjoy this this wonderful expose from Frank Steven. All right, so the first verse, I don't know if I'll call it the first verse, but this chapter begins with 3 Arabic words: alif, lam, mim. Now these words have no meaning. That's and words like this, phrases like this, begin 29 chapters of the Quran. 29 chapters of the Quran begin like this, with alif, lam, mim, or something else, some other word. And these words have no meaning. Have no meaning. Like I said, they begin 29 chapters out of 114 chapters of the Quran, and no one knows what they mean. The prevailing explanation is captured by Tafsir al-Jalalain. God knows best what is meant by this. And this is supposed to be the clear and perfect speech of Allah. The perfect speech, the revelation in which there is no doubt. And 29 chapters begin with words in Arabic that have no meaning. They are just combination of letters that look weird and meaningless, essentially. But God knows what it means. And of course, the fact that only Allah knows what it means is one of the numerous miracles of the perfect speech of Allah. It's one thing about Islam: when something is nonsensical and ridiculous, the Muslim man will say, oh, it's just a miracle. That's why you cannot understand it. You know, Allah is good, is an expert in performing miracles that don't make sense. If it don't make sense, if it doesn't make sense, then it is from Allah. Verse 2 states, this book, there is no doubt in it, is a guide for those who fear Allah. That is verse 2, you know, which expressly states this is the foundation. This is the foundation of the Islamic faith, essentially. Not the surah, but the Quran itself, and also the surah too. But the Quran itself, this is the foundation of the Islamic faith. This is the book. There is no doubt in it. And what this means is that the Quran is without a doubt the word of Allah. That is the assertion made here. And it leaves no room for doubt or questioning. Now, this is similar to how Christians and Jews view their scripture. But there is a difference here. As, of course, Jews and Christians, we see the Bible or our holy book as the final authority. This is what God... People are already saying they are bored. I'm telling you, you guys have not seen anything yet. Okay, it's going to get interesting. Trust me, it's going to get interesting. It is. I'm not going to read my slide from beginning to end. It's going to get interesting. Somewhere along the line, it's going to get interesting. Okay? Okay? I'm going to try. Okay? So anyway, that's the first chapter of the Quran. Maybe I should rush this slide and get to the interesting part. Verses 3, 4, and 5. Verses 3, 4, and 5 defines who a believer is. According to Surah chapter 2, a believer is anyone who believes in the unseen, prays salat, and gives zakat, and follows Allah's guidance, which is the Quran and the command of Muhammad. And these people are very successful, you know. And one interesting thing about claiming that these people are very successful is that later on in the Quran, it is stated that God tests these people. So he tests them, he may bring hardship their way, you know, to test them. But they are always successful. And I really want to know what that success look like, because when you look at the Muslim world today, I don't see the success. Like, okay, the Quran guarantees that the believers will be successful. And then you look at Muslim countries, you look at Pakistan, you look at Libya, you look at you look at where else will I mention? You look at even Egypt, you look at all these countries in the Middle East. You look at Iraq, you look at Afghanistan, and you ask yourself, okay, where is the successfulness? that the Quran promises for those who believe. And is absent despite despite how devoted they are, despite how they, Afghanistan now says that they are going to stone women to death, right? To follow, following the command of Almighty Allah to stone women caught in adultery to death. Yet Afghanistan is nothing to write home about. Then verse 6 and 7, of course, the Quran is not complete if it does not throw shades at unbelievers. And it declares the nature of the unbeliever that, according to 6 and 7, we unbelievers, the kuffars, we are all the same. We won't change no matter how many times we are warned. Allah is the reason. And here's the funny part about Surah verse 7. Verse 7 says that the reason why we will not change is because Allah has sealed our hearing and our hearts, and has, put a covering over our eyes. Our eyes are covered. That means we are deaf, we are dumb, we are blind. And the reason why we are deaf, dumb, and blind is because Allah has made us deaf, dumb, and blind. So our disbelief is the doing of Allah. It's not our fault. We did not do this. Allah did it to us. So if that's the case, I wonder, okay, if it is not our fault that, we are deaf, dumb, and blind, and we do not believe the message of the Quran, I mean, how then are we to be blamed? But it doesn't stop Allah or his logic, and he will still punish us, and an awful doom awaits us. And again, another important thing you should know is, despite the fact that Allah makes us unbelievers, despite the fact that Allah is going to punish us after making us unbelievers, we are reminded in the Quran that Allah is the most gracious and is the most merciful. So this is the kind of mercy and gracefulness we get from Allah. A God that causes people to disobey him, causes people not to believe in him, punish them even after causing them not to believe in him, and then still says, look, I am gracious and I am the most merciful. I'm like, how, Sway? How are you the most gracious and the most merciful when you do these kind of things? Then verses 8 to 20 addresses the hypocrites, okay? And this could be Muslims, or Muslims, or I think these hypocrites here, according to how I understand these verses, they refer to the moderate Muslims, right? Those people whose faith is not strong, who do not practice Islam in full, who are not fully devoted. It's like they are one foot in, the other foot out, and or they have this outward, profession of faith, but inwardly they do not believe. So the hypocrites. Verse 9 tells us that in their heart there is a disease, and Allah increases that disease, which is also another interesting thing. Even the hypocrites, Allah makes them hypocrites. It's so funny. Everybody is who they are because Allah has made them that way. So the hypocrites is hypocrites because Allah makes them hypocrites. And one thing about the hypocrites is that they spread corruption in the land, which is fitna. They are not indeed those who spread corruption, but they do not realize it. That's another interesting thing. These hypocrites are spreading corruption without knowing it. And you should also know that the punishment for fitna is execution, crucifixion, amputation, or exile. Okay? Keep that in mind. So these are all the wonderful doings of Allah. Then verse 18 declares, deaf, dumb, and blind, and they will not return. So again, just like we, the unbelievers, the kuffars, the hypocrites are also deaf, dumb, and blind. And all of that is, of course, the work of Almighty Allah. Very wonderful. Then verse 20b said, if Allah wills, he will destroy their... This is also a very interesting part, and I want you guys to pay attention to this. Verse 20b of Surah 2 says, if Allah wills, he will destroy their hearing and their sight, for Allah has power over everything. And I noted here, but I thought they are already blind and deaf, which is interesting. Allah, in the earlier verses, is like, deaf, dumb, and blind, I've made them so. They have a disease in their heart, and I put it inside them. They do not see. I have made them blind. I have made them deaf. I've done this. I've done that. And then in verse 20, he's like, oh, I will. If I will, I will destroy their hearing and their sight. And I'm like, if you will, you already said you've done it. So is it that you've done it or you're about to do it? Which one is it? Of course, that's a minor contradiction, but it is worth noting. And moving on, verse 20 to 21 calls on everyone. It has this clarent call for everyone to become a Muslim. Verse 23 says, if you are, and this is an interesting verse, verse 23 of Surah 2. Very interesting. It says, And if you are in doubt about what we are revealing to our slave, then produce a surah like it. So the proof that this is the word of God, the proof that the Quran is indeed the word of God, is that no one ever can produce something like it. That is the standard that Allah himself set, which is a very interesting standard. This is a very interesting standard because, like I stated here, sorry, this, what was that? Okay, not here. Okay, like I stated here, this is the idea, of course, let me explain that before. It's repeated in Surah 17, verse 88, Surah 11, verse 13, Surah 10, verse 38, and Surah 52, verse 54. So this challenge to produce something similar to the Quran is something that Allah repeats over and over and over again. It's like really the writers of the Quran, or Muhammad himself, or Allah himself, felt so comfortable about what he was revealing in the Quran that he believed or believes that no one can produce anything like it. Nobody can or has ever done something like that. It is unique. This is so unique. And no one can produce anything. I mean, it's a bold claim. First of all, it's a bold claim because even Shakespearean work, nobody can say you can't produce something similar to Shakespeare. Shakespeare is funny to make that claim, to make that assertion. It's also this, there are many assertions that Islam and Muslims and Allah makes that I consider funny and ridiculous because nobody in their right mind will make those kind of claims or those kind of claims. For example, the Quran has been perfectly preserved, letter to letter. No book that is that ancient, written at that particular period, can make that kind of claim. None. And it is a claim that is easy, that can be easily refuted. And yet, you see Muslims make the claim. Also, this claim is also another one that is just ridiculous. First of all, it is self-reinforcing because if you say produce something like this, or I say, okay, the proof that I'm the messenger of God, first of all, it's ridiculous. If, let's say Frank now, me, Frank Stevens, say the proof that I'm the messenger of God is that nobody can create a live stream like the live stream that I'm making. Well, as Frank Steven, my style of doing a live stream is unique to me. The way I speak is unique to me. So the fact that I am unique, is that proof that I am from God? Okay, that means if indeed it is true that the Quran is unique, that uniqueness, there's so many things that are unique. Is anything then that is unique then proof that of God? Any unique thing on the planet is from God? Is that the claim? That is one. Second is, even if people want to meet that challenge or try to produce something like this, like the Quran. Even if people want to do that, what are the standards? What are the criteria? What criteria do they have to meet? Because I can come up with something, you will read it, and if you know that I'm actually trying to, produce something, meet this challenge, something like that. That's what I'm trying to do. If you know that, you might read it and be like, oh no, this is not like the Quran. This is not like the Quran. Now you can just say that, and who is going to judge? Anybody can, for whatever reason, say, oh no, this is not like the Quran. So the question is, who gets to judge this, and what is the criteria for judging it? Any Muslim can simply just say, no, that does not meet the criteria. This surah you just produced does not meet the criteria. So who gets to be the judge? It is subjective, and nobody is judging, and there is no standard criteria to be that anybody has to meet. That's one. Second is, there's also a book called The True Furqan, or Furqan, sorry. The True Furqan. Two wrong pronunciation at the time. There is a book called The True Furqan, or Furqan. Pronounce this thing well, Frank. The True Furqan. Okay, and let's go to the. I want us to read the Wikipedia page of this. I hope it is big enough for everyone to see. The True Furqan is a book written in Arabic that tries to imitate the Quran while incorporating elements of traditional Christian teaching. Okay, that's what this book is about, right? And according to Baptist News, Al-Mahdi, a member of the executive committee of Project Omega 2001, released The True Furqan in April 1999, saying that Muslims have not received the true message of the gospel. This book is attributed to authors who go by the pseudonym of Al-Safi and Al-Mahdi, and was translated into English by Anis Shorosh. who called it a tool to liberate Muslims and who believes that Muhammad is the Antichrist. It contains 72 numbered chapters plus a prologue and epilogue. According to Shorosh, the true Furqan is an attempt to respond to the challenge in the Quran that no one can create a work like it, and incorporates it incorporates a Christian rather than Islamic message. This book apparently reproduces the Quranic style so effectively that some who recite it aloud in public areas were thanked by Arab Muslims for having recited the Quran itself. And I want people to take note of this. This book apparently reproduced the Quranic style so effectively that some who recited it aloud in public areas were thanked by Arab Muslims for having recited the Quran itself. So based on those Muslims who had this recitation, the true Furqan has met the requirement, has fulfilled the challenge. Christian missionary Dr. Ray Register characterized the book as an effective tool for pre-evangelism to help critique the Quran and popular Muslim attitude towards Jesus and ethical living. It has been prescribed as Christian propaganda. It has been described as Christian propaganda on Islamic concept. The American Muslim called the book a hoax. Of course they will, saying it represents a desperate measure to find some way to convert the infidel Muslims. It finds a way to convert the infidel Muslims since a few hundred years of concerted effort have brought so little success. You believe me, it has brought so little success. That is why you guys keep killing missionaries. I mean, so the success is so little that you guys are out of frustration started executing or attacking Christian missionaries, even in northern Nigeria. So many of them, they are living perilously thanks to how ineffective the missionary effort in the Muslim world has been. Obviously, it is so ineffective that you guys feel threatened by it. Other critics call it poor in quality and ridiculous in content. Yeah, except for the Arab Muslims who had it being read in public. A pathetic attempt to distort the Quranic teaching by reproducing what looks like Quranic verses. Oh, so they admit that it looks like Quranic verses. So it fulfills the requirement. Islamic scholar at the University of Tehran has argued that the true Furqan uses a flawed methodology. I mean, I would say the methodology of produce something similar to the Quran is, if you can't produce something similar to the Quran, then the Quran is true. Is a flawed methodology. But I mean, one flawed methodology means of another flawed methodology is only fair, if you ask me. And again, the Quran itself is filled with flawed methodologies, but that's a story for another day. He said he uses a flawed methodology in his attempt to answer the challenge of the imitability of the Quran, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So that's what needs to be known about this challenge of reproducing something like the Quran. People have attempted. I've tried to meet this challenge, to respond to the challenge, and they've done a really good job, such that even Muslims are being fooled to think that this is actually something that is, that is a Quranic verse. And even the critics of the book said it looks like Quranic verses, but they are not. They look like Quranic verses, but they are not, which means challenge met, right? We proceed. Verse 30 to 39. In this verse 30 to 39, Allah tells us a very not so unique version of the story of the creation of Adam, right? In verse 34, verse 34 said, and when we said to the angel, prostrate yourself before Adam, they fell prostrate, all except Iblis. He refused because of pride and so became a disbeliever. Now, anybody who has read the Bible, who has read the book of Genesis, you know that this story is not in the Bible. This story is so not in the Bible. But it is in the Quran, and this is something that, and much later you'll see the Quran make the claim that this is actually what is in our book, and that if we deny this, we are hiding the truth. But I don't know which version of the Bible has this. Oh, I know I'm going to mention it, but I just want you to know that this is what it is believed that happened in the beginning of the creation of man, right? When Adam was created, it tells the story of how Adam was created. and how the angels were like, why are you going to create man who will do this and do that and bring corruption and do all this stuff? And then Allah is like, don't doubt me, I know what I'm doing. And then he created man, and then he told man the name of, I think, is it the name of the stars or something, or the name of the angels, and then told man to, you know, recite those names, and Adam, not man, right? And Adam recited those names, and the angels were like, whoa, this is wonderful. And then, you know, Allah is like, angels, prostrate yourself to this wonderful creation of mine. And all of them just fell flat, all of them except Iblis, and he refused because of pride, and so he became a disbeliever. The funny thing is that in Islamic tradition, in the hadiths, Muhammad forbade people from bowing down to anyone besides Allah. We see instances of this in this surah. As in Surah Ibn Majah is graded Hassan, which is good, though it's not Sahih, but it's good. Abdullah, whoever, this person came to, you know, he prostrated before the Prophet, and the Prophet said, what is this? And then he said, I went to Sham and saw them prostrating to their bishops and patricians, and I wanted to do that for you. And then Allah's messenger was like, do not do that. If I were to command anyone to prostrate to other than Allah, I would have commanded women to prostrate to their husbands, of course. But the one in whose hand is the soul of man, no woman can fulfill her duty towards Allah until she fulfills her duty towards her husband. If he asks for intimate, oh, sorry, I'm reading too far. If he asks her for intimacy, even if she's blind, okay, the point here is, Muhammad is like, do not do that. And if he was ever to make such command, he will have made the command to women to prostrate to their husbands. So Muhammad is like, look, don't prostrate. A man should not prostrate to another man. But if I would have allowed prostration, it would be, oh, women, prostrate to your husbands, you know, which again tells you the superiority and the dignity of women in the Quran and in the Islamic tradition. So we see from this hadith that, you know, you see from this hadith that bowing down was not permitted by Muhammad. And also, if you go to islamqa.info, there's this, I'll link my slide, you know, in the description so that you can look at some of these links. But what this article, this one here, tries to explain is that in Islam, bowing down is shirk. That's what the article here explains, because it tries to answer the question: is it permissible for younger persons to bow down to another person, to an older person when greeting them? And from what is written here, the point they are trying to make is that this is not permitted. Okay, it's shirk. You should not do that. So in Islamic tradition and Islamic law, you are not allowed to bow down to people, even your elders. But Allah is like, yeah, bow down to. He's telling Iblis, bow down to Adam, kind of worshiping him, because it's a form of worship. That is how it is seen in Islam. It's a form of worship, but Iblis is supposed to do that, and him not doing that made him a disbeliever. So essentially, Allah is commanding his angel to commit shirk, and his angel refused committing shirk, and then Allah is like, well, you are a disbeliever now, nonetheless. You disobeyed me. So what is actually going on? This is the kind of internal contradiction you see even in the stories that you have in the Quran. Then another important thing to know about the story of Iblis that we just read is that it is copied from a Jewish apocrypha. Let me be sure of what it is called if I mispronounce it. So I put links here so that okay, is a Jew from a Jewish literature. A Jewish apocryphal work is called The Life of Adam and Eve. That's where this is copied from, right? That's where this story is copied from. And in this story, in this fictional story, Satan tells Adam, I will not worship an inferior and younger being than I. I am his senior in the creation. Before he was made, was I made. This is his duty to worship me. So, I want you guys to understand this. In the Quran, there is a copy of something that is a Jewish work of apocrypha. It is copied by Muhammad and Allah, and put, or let's not say Muhammad, by Allah, and put in the Quran as if it is actually what is written in the Torah. So a work of apocrypha is what is what Allah is mistaken as something that is in the Torah. And and according to Allah, an imaginary retelling of the life of Adam, a fictional writing, is indeed the correct account of creation. But if you question it, Allah really knows best. You don't have to doubt it. And yes, he did tell Satan to commit shirk. Alhamdulillah. Then moving on to the part that has to do with the Jews, which is from verses 40 to verses 105. Actually, he extends beyond verses 105, goes even down to towards the end of the chapter. So many times, things we are said to the Jews, even beyond just these few verses that I mentioned here, beyond just verses 40 to 105. Okay, and what Muhammad was telling the Jews are very interesting things. Okay, what I wrote here is most of the verses I summarized and revised narration of Israel in the desert of Sinai, worshiping a golden calf and giving Moses a hard time. Verses 55 and verse 56 says, and when you said, "Oh Moses, we will not believe in you until we see Allah plainly. And while you watch, the lightning struck you, and then we revive you after your death, so that you might give thanks." And this is one of these stories like this is repeated in this chapter of the Quran, where Allah tells the Jews that, remember when I made you die and then I bring you back to life. I made you die and then I bring you back to life. And an example of this is this verse where Allah is saying, remember when you told Moses that you wanted to see God plainly, and then God brought lightning and struck you guys, and then you guys died, and then Allah brought you back to life. Funny enough, if you remember that story correctly in the Old Testament, that is not what happened. What happened is, in fact, it was not the suggestion of the children of Israel. It was not their suggestion. It was God himself that brought up the suggestion. That was like, Moses, tell these people to prepare themselves, to purify themselves for 3 days and come towards this mountain. That's the Mount Sinai. Come towards this mountain and I'm going to speak to them. So the children of Israel are not like, no, God, we want to talk to you. No, it was not their idea. It was God's idea. So it wasn't that the children of Israel were rebellious and they told Moses, no, we want to see God plainly. That's not what happened. God was like, no, come, I want to show you myself. And then after 3 days, after they purified themselves, they came to the mountain, and then there was thunder, there was lightning, fire came out of the mountain, right? And the children of Israel were like, no, we don't want to hear from God again. Moses, you go and talk to God. That is how the story happened in the book of Exodus. That is how it happened. But the version in the Quran is that it was the children of Israel that were rebellious, and because of their rebellion, they asked God to manifest himself. And when he did, he struck them dead, and then he brought them back to life. And as I stated here in the Bible account, that's not what happened. There is no story of the children of Israel in the desert dying and God bringing all of them back to life. It never happened. Or maybe he did, right? Maybe he did, and the evil Zionists, that existed in the time of Muhammad, concealed it and they hid it and they changed it and they, we did all those wonderful things to it just because we wanted to discredit the Holy Quran, which is a huge conspiracy that doesn't make sense. And then we have verse 62 that says, indeed, those who believe and those who are Jews and Christians and Sabians, whoever believe in Allah and the last day and does right, surely their reward is with their God, and no fear will come upon them, neither will they grieve. Now, this verse is believed by so many to be, this is the tolerant verse in the Quran. This verse is a verse of tolerance, because it said, indeed, those who believe and those who are Jews and Christians and Sabians, whoever believes in Allah and the last day and does right, surely their reward is with their Lord, and no fear will come upon them, neither will they grieve. Now, I mentioned here that the key phrase is whoever believes in Allah and the last day. So, of all these people, I believe what this verse is saying is that of all these people, it is only those amongst them who believe in Allah. That means those amongst them who convert to Islam, those are the ones that, that no fear will come upon them and neither will they grieve. And also, this has been abrogated by Surah 3 verse 85. And of course, in this same surah, Surah chapter 2, we have the verse that has to do with abrogation. And we are coming to that. But I think it's important to mention this. And then we move on to verse 65 and 66. And you know, among those among you who broke the Sabbath, how we said to them, be apes and despised and hated. And we made it an example for their own generation and to succeeding ones, and a warning sign to those who fear Allah. This is a very interesting, this is a very interesting verse, because here he's talking about the Jews. He said, and to you, you know, people who observe the Sabbath, they are the Jews, right? And he said that Allah commanded them to observe the Sabbath, and they did not do it. And because they did not do it, what happened? Allah struck them and made them turn to apes and made them despised and hated. And he made that as a warning for those who fear Allah. And first of all, it is important to note that in the Torah, or in the prophets, or in the Psalms, or in the records of kings, First Samuel, whatever, in all of those records in the Old Testament, there is no record of this ever happening to the Jewish people where they are turned to apes. It didn't happen. Also, one thing you should also know, that this story is repeated in Surah 5 verse 69 to 70 and Surah 7 verse 166. And it's the reason why many Muslims call Jews pigs and apes. But in Muhammad's defense, or will I say in Allah's defense, in the hadith, that is Sahih Muslim 266-3b, Muhammad explained that the Muslims, the Jews today, or the monkeys and the apes today, are not the Jews that we are turned to apes. You know, Muhammad kind of made that clarification in the hadith. But it is interesting to know that Jews, at one time, we are turned to apes and monkeys because they disobeyed Allah. Alhamdulillah. And before I make you people die of boredom, let me see if there's something interesting here that I can highlight. Okay, verse 75. Have you any hope that they will be true to you when a party of them used to listen to the word of Allah and they used to change it knowingly? What word did I miss here? Well, whatever. The point here is that have you any hope? Let me check verse 75. Let me check. Surah 2:75. Let me be sure what that verse says. O Muslim, do you still fancy that they will believe you? Although a group of them used to hear the word of Allah and then, having understood it, used to distort it knowingly. So here, of course, Allah talking to the Muslims is talking about the Jews and said that we, the Jews, and even the Christians by extension, that they used to hear the word of Allah and then they will knowingly distort it. That we will know it, we will understand it. This is one thing he said. We know it, we hear it, we understand it, and then we knowingly distort it. That's the claim made here. And it's also a claim that is repeated, like is repeated in Surah 5 verse 13, repeated in Surah 5 verse 78. It's also repeated in Surah 2 verse 79. It's also even in so many, I think more than 5 times, it was mentioned in Surah Al-Baqarah that it's either we know the truth and we conceal it, or we know the truth and we distort it, or we know the truth and we toss it away, or it has been revealed to us, but we have hardened our hearts. Whatever it is, whatever accusation, it is always that anything that Muhammad is saying to the Muslims now, we all have had it before and we know it to be true. And we know that Muhammad is not lying, and the revelation that has been given to us confirms it, but we hide it, we distort it, we change it. We either change it for a price because we are greedy, or we change it because we have hardened our heart, or we even toss it away. There's even a verse that says they throw it away, which is very interesting when you consider the fact that in Surah 6, verse 115, it is stated that the word of your Lord is perfect in truthfulness and justice, and no one, let me highlight it in case in case you guys cannot see it. No one can change his words. He is all hearing and all knowing. Interesting. He's really all knowing. He said no one can change his words. So the question is, if no one can change the words of Allah, then how come in the same In the same surah, we are getting accusations levied against Jews and Christians that we try to change the word of Allah, and that we indeed succeeded in changing it and distorting it and even casting it away and rewriting it, rephrasing it, revising it. And also I think we also need to read this hadith, because I think it's very important for us to read this hadith. This is Sunan Abu Dawud 4,449. And what it says is, a group of Jews came and visited the Messenger of Allah. So he visited them in their school. They said, one of our men has committed fornication with a woman, so pronounce judgment upon them. They placed a cushion for the Messenger of Allah, who sat on it and said, bring the Torah. That's what he said, bring the Torah. The question is, what version of the Torah did they have then that is different from the version of the Torah that we have now? I wonder. Because he said, bring the Torah. It was then brought. He then withdrew the cushion from beneath him and placed the Torah on it, saying, I believe in thee and in him who revealed thee. So Muhammad himself said, look, I believe in this Torah and I believe in the person who revealed the Torah. So Muhammad affirms the Torah. The Quran in Surah, let me be sure, sorry. The Quran in Surah 6 verse 115 says the word of God cannot be changed, but yet Jews are repeatedly accused of changing it. So when was this changed? Where is the original? Where is that Quran that Muhammad had in that Torah that Muhammad had in his hand, that he placed on his stool and said, I believe in you and in the one who revealed you? Is it different from the Torah we have today? And when was it changed? We need to know that. Allah needs to get back to us on that. These are questions that we have to ask. But of course, you are not supposed to ask questions, okay? Asking questions is not allowed in Islam. You are supposed to believe, because Allah knows best. And the proof that Allah knows best is that no one can produce something this incoherent and inconsistent. Alhamdulillah. Now in verse 94, says, say if the abode of the hereafter is the providence of Allah, in the providence of Allah is indeed for you only and not for the other people of mankind, as you pretend, then long for death if you are truthful. Let me read this again. And this is a very interesting verse. Verse 94 of Surah 2. Say, if the abode of the hereafter in the providence of Allah is indeed for you only and not for the other people of mankind, as you pretend, then long for death if you are truthful. So, what is this verse saying? Allah is telling the Jews, because this is also referring to the Jews. He's telling them, if indeed you are children, you are going to inherit paradise. You are going to inherit heaven when you die. If heaven is only for you and not for other people of mankind, that you are God's chosen people and the hereafter is only for you, paradise is only for you. If it is true, then you should long for death. So, and I find it interesting, because for Allah, if you have hope in the hereafter, if you have hope of heaven, of paradise, of spending eternity with your maker in a place that is heavenly, filled with his glory, if you have that hope, then you should long for death. And this is why you see, peace lovers, these are people who very openly long for death. We have that footage, which is the clip here of Muhammad Hijab saying, we don't worry about death. We are not scared of death. We love death because of the hope in the hereafter, which is funny to me, because that you long that you have a home in heaven, you have a place in heaven, does not automatically mean that you should not care about your life here on earth, because you have been put on this planet to steward it, and you have been told in Genesis chapter 1 that you should have dominion, subdue the earth, be fruitful and multiply. That command is also there, okay? And Jesus also told his disciples, occupy till I come. That's what you've been told to do. Till he comes, occupy. So the idea that you are supposed to not care about this world and long for death because you have hope in the hereafter, I'm like, no, it doesn't automatically connect. There is a reason why you've been placed on this planet, and you have to fulfill that. Why your heavenly home awaits you. But for the Muslim, that is not the case. Okay, everything the Muslim does is geared towards securing a home in the hereafter. It's done. That's why, to them, death is not a problem. And then Allah now then proceeds to call Jews greedy. Verse 96 said, and you will find them the greediest of mankind for life, even more than the idolaters. Each of them would like to be allowed to live 1,000 years, and to live would they by no means remove from the doom. Allah is the seer of what they do. So what this verse is trying to say is that the Jews are greedy because they want to live long. Maybe if Allah had read the Psalms, especially Psalm 118, he will read the verse that says, with long life will I satisfy you. So if God has promised his children long life, why then shouldn't they desire to live long? It's so ridiculous that Allah thinks it's a bad thing to want to have long life. For him, you wanting to live long is a sign that you are a disbeliever. And then you have verses in the Quran where Allah tells, especially in Surah 9, where Allah tells the Muslim that, why are you so interested in earthly things? Why are you so interested in this life? Why don't you long for the hereafter? Why are you not willing to give up your life in the way of Allah, in the fight of Allah? He's like, what is all these worldly things? Don't you know that there is something in the hereafter for you? Which I find very interesting. Like, Allah is luring his followers to want to die, desire death. And yes, there is in Christianity, Paul said to live is Christ, to die is gain. It is there. You understand? To live is Christ, to die is gain. But Paul did not say that and then say we should long to die. He was talking about, the peril he was facing as a missionary, someone who knows that his life is always in danger, and the way he sees it is that even if he dies, it is still gain. And the point Paul was trying to make is, if I'm alive, it's for your benefit. If I'm not alive, it's also for God's benefit. That at the end of the day, God is glorified in whatever happens, whether I live or I die. There is gain in both. That's the point Paul was trying to make in that passage of scripture. But for Muhammad, that's for Allah and his people, that's not the case. The only gain is in the hereafter. Yet he still tells them that they are going to be successful. So maybe what he means by success here is that they are going to enter the paradise of, what the paradise looks like. That's not what we are going to talk about here. And let me take a break. I'm about to finish this slide. I'm rushing through it because even me, I'm bored myself. Anyways, let's look at what people are saying in the comments. First of all, let's check the super chats. And this is from Togi. He said, I am dyslexic and can read and I can write a better, more coherent book than the Quran. And I am dyslexic. Yes, you can. You can. You see, look, even that mumble, that deaf hop that we listened to yesterday on my channel is more entertaining, at least. You will agree it is more entertaining than what we've been reading thus far. And maybe the word of God is not supposed to be entertaining. This is the word of life. It doesn't have to be entertaining at the end of the day, but my God, it is boring and incoherent and just annoying. Annoyingly incoherent. Allah keeps contradicting himself. 1 minute he says one thing, the other minute he says something else. And then it's so funny to me that just from the last thing we just talked about, that he thinks having long life is you being greedy. I guess at the end of the day, in Islam and in the Quran, and I guess at the end of the day, in Islam and in the Quran, long life is not a promise for them. I don't know. Is there a verse in the Quran where they are promised long life? Because I would really want to know. I would really want to know if there is a problem on this earth. Allah is like, yeah, I'm going to satisfy you with long life, or it's just hereafter for them. Nothing in this earth matters. And this is from Now Devoted. Say, love your work, your sense of humor. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let me see what some people are saying from the chat on Instagram. From T Khalifa 2. The hereafter is permanent, while the dunya is temporary. Okay? If the dunya here on earth is temporary, is that why they should not desire long life? Can't they, even while they are on earth, do things that will be for the glory of... Anyway, obviously, I know the answer to this, but I'm coming at it from this Christian mindset, which I think is the best way to look at life. You cannot replace that mentality with something like this and think it makes sense. The mentality that you have been placed on this earth to make it better, to glorify God by having dominion. And then in the year after, you get to live with him and get your reward for making this world, for bringing heaven on earth. You know, being kind, helping out, sharing the gospel, building your community, raising godly children, providing beneficial, innovation and services and value to society, even in commerce, even in the workplace, in the marketplace, in what you consider secular activity. As a believer, this is one thing that is the beauty of Christian theology, Christian theology and Christian practice, is that people always talk about sacred and secular, but for the believer, there is no separation. They said you bring the sacred to the secular. Now, I'm not saying you should be overtly Christian and just I'm a child of God. No, that's not how you do it. You are told as a Christian how you conduct your business. You have to do it for the glory of God. Glorify God in everything you do, in your eating, in your drinking, in your business, in your relationship with others, in everything. Every instance is an opportunity to glorify God. When you strive towards excellence, you are giving God glory. In everything you are doing, you are giving God glory. Even in the most mundane things, God is interested in everything about, and he wants you to do it for his glory. You're committed to do it as if is an act of worship unto God. Not, these things of this life do not matter. Think of the hereafter. So go and commit jihad. Go and do jihad. And if you do jihad, one-way trip to Jannah. I'm like, really? So that creates the mentality of not doing anything about the world, living your society the way it is. And I believe it explains what we see in the Muslim world, the extreme poverty. There is no interest in making it a better place. It is done here. So focus on something that is permanent, right? Which is heaven. Exactly. There are 72 virgins waiting for you. So like King of Corinth said, that's more important than anything else. An eternity of just, sexually penetrating virgins. And Khalifa said, you can write a book better than the Quran. You can't write a book better than the Quran. It's impossible. Oh, please. Have you heard of the Furqan? And then he said, Allah never contradicts himself. You're just making claims, Khalifa. You're just making claims. He never contradicts himself. And then we read contradictions. Okay, how do you explain the contradictions we've read thus far? How do you explain, let me remember. How do you explain Allah accusing Muslims of altering his words, and then saying in Surah 6 verse 115 that you cannot alter his word? How do you explain that? How do you explain let me find another contradiction. Not this one. This one is not even a contradiction, it's just a flat out lie. How do you explain him telling Iblis to bow down to Adam, and then also making it that in the slide, according to his prophet, which is the perfect example for mankind, telling Muslims that they should not bow down to anyone? That's shirk. According to Sharia, that's shirk. That's you equating, doing that is you making the person you are bound down to a god, associating partners with Allah. That's what it is. And yet he's telling Iblis to associate Adam with God. How do you explain that? How do you explain that? How do you even explain? How do you explain the beginning of the surah that is Alif Lam Mim? Khalifa, if you are still watching me, I want to see in the comments your explanation for Alif Lam Mim. What is your explanation for that? I want to know what your explanation is for these very incredible words of Almighty Allah. And to my YouTube comments. Oh, this is let me see. This is Tacy91 joining live for the first time. Hello, guys. Hello, Tacy. We are talking about Surah. We're talking about Surah Al-Baqarah, the second surah in the Quran, and we are explaining the wonderful things that Allah has written there. Middle East Witness is with us. Middle East Witness, if you are with us, send me a message on WhatsApp so you can come on here and help me read these things in Arabic, so that they can confirm that so people can confirm that I am indeed reading the Arabic. You know how Muslims will say, "Oh, it is better in the Arabic." If you had just send me a message on a private chat, and I will send you a link so you can join us live, so we can get an Arabic speaker to confirm that indeed I am reading it correctly. Okay. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Okay, that's all from the comments. Let's go back to talking about the Quran. Let's go back to talking about the Quran. And then another thing that should be noted here. Have I gotten? Okay. Let's start with verse 16. Let's continue with verse 89. We said, and then there comes to them a book from Allah. Huh. And then there comes to them a book from Allah, confirming the one in their possession. So the Quran is to confirm the book we already possess, which is like the Gospels and the Torah and the prophets, right? And the Psalms and the Proverbs and everything. The Quran is to confirm these books, right? Although before that they were asking for a great victory over those who disbelieve. And where there comes to them what they know, they disbelieve it. The curse of Allah is on unbelievers. So every one of you listening to me, the curse of Allah is on the curse of Allah is on all of you if you're a disbeliever. Okay? You kuffars, your curse of Allah is upon all of you. And you guys have the Quran confirms the book that is in your possession. The Bible in your possession, the Quran is a confirmation of it. But you still disbelieve. That's why the curse of Allah is on you. And again, this accusation is repeated in Surah 2, verse 90, 91, and 101. Allah claims that his final revelation confirms what is in the Torah, but the Jews refuse to accept it. Yet, even the story of Adam and Eve from Allah is a Jewish fabrication that only confirms that Allah is ignorant of the Torah. This is very important to note. Even the very story of Adam and Eve, it just shows where Allah got it from. Shows that he doesn't even know what is in the Torah and what is not in the Torah. And yet he is accusing us that, oh, what I'm saying confirms the book you have. And we're like, even that thing you are saying is not from the book we have. And this is the book where it is from. You know. And then we have verse 246 to 251. And I had to jump to verse 242 when I was making this slide, because I think it has an interesting point that it contains something interesting that buttresses the point I'm trying to make, which is the way the Quran tells stories from the Bible in a way that just shows it doesn't even know what it is talking about. The writer does not know what it is talking, he or she or they or them, whatever pronoun Allah chooses to use, is talking about. The retelling of the story of David and Goliath is in Surah 246 to 251. And let us read that story. Let us read it. I want us to read it because it's better you guys see it for yourself than me just summarizing it and telling you what it is. Look at the wonderful beginning of Surah 2. Very inspiring. As I read it, I mean, you guys we are making fun of that guy that was in and this is how the Quran starts, with words that are as meaningless as what we had from that song. Anyways, let's go to I don't like this. I don't like this version. Can they just show me one? Let me see if I can get it from another website. Okay. This is a better website that just gives us one translation, because I don't want multiple translations. This is from 246 to 251. So let's scroll. Sorry guys, bear with me. I should have had this 246 to All right, where are we? We are almost there. Okay. Now, have you not considered the assembly of the children of Israel after the time of Moses, when they said to their prophet, "Send us a king, and we will fight in the way of Allah"? He said, "Would you perhaps refrain from fighting if fighting was prescribed for you?" They said, "And why should we not fight in the cause of Allah?" Blah, 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 blah. Anyways, and their prophet said to them, "Indeed, Allah has sent you Saul as king." They said, "How can we have..." This is another funny thing. Listen to this. This is verse. If anybody knows the Bible very well, like I do, just reading this, and I don't even need to explain. You just can say, okay, this is a very serious contradiction. This is not in the Bible. But I will explain anyways. I will explain. He said, and their prophet said to them, "Indeed, Allah has set for you Saul as king." He said, Allah said to the children of Israel, "Look, I have set for you Saul as king." And they said, "How can we have kingship over us while we are more worthy for kingship than him? And he has not been given any measure of wealth." So, according to this place, it said, when Saul was made king, the children of Israel rejected Saul's kingship on the grounds that he's not wealthy. How is it going that they are more worthy and he's not worthy, that there are people who are more worthy than Saul? But any of you who remember the story will know that that did not happen. What happened was Saul was the one who felt that he was not worthy. Saul was the one who felt he was not worthy. When they saw Saul, Saul was tall. Saul was the embodiment of a king. Okay, he stood above everyone else. When they saw him, they were like, "Yes, this is what a king should look like." Saul was that man that his mere presence commanded this guy, this respect. You're like, "Whoa, okay, this is the man." This, of course, he was like the first son of Jesse, who when Samuel saw, he was like, "Yeah, this is the anointed of the Lord." That was how huge Saul was. A tall man. It was Saul himself who was like, "No, I'm from the least tribe, of the least house, of the least clan, of the least everything. I do not deserve to be king." It was Saul who said that, not the Israelites. But in the Quran, it was the Israelites saying it. And their prophet said to them, "Indeed, a sign of his kingship is that his chest will come to you, in which is assurance from your Lord, and a remnant of what the family of Moses and the family of Aaron has left, carried by angels. Indeed, in that is a sign for you, if you are believers." Now, all these things I'm reading does not even, it's giving me headache. But this does not even make sense, and I don't know if it happened. This does not even make sense. There was no the only confirmation that Saul was king is that he led the first battle. He led the children of Israel to fight. He came out victorious, and also when he was in the midst of prophets, he prophesied. Like, his kingship was sign upon sign upon sign that this man was the man from God, but not this ridiculous sign that Muhammad Allah just talked about. But it gets more interesting. And then Saul went forth with the soldiers. He said, "Indeed, Allah will be testing you with a river." Listen, Allah will be testing you with a river. So whoever drinks from it, is not of me. And whoever does not test it is indeed of me, except ones who test it, who take from it in the hollow of their hands. Let me read it again. And when Saul went forth with the soldiers, he said, "Indeed, Allah will be testing you with a river. So whoever drinks from it is not from me. And whoever does not taste it is indeed of me, excepting..." Okay, let me not follow this rubbish grammar. "Except ones who take from it in the hollow of their hands." Anybody who knows the Bible knows where this is from. And they know that this is not Saul. This is Gideon. So Allah, the all-knowing, the omniscient one, cannot tell the difference between Saul and Gideon. And a Christian is supposed to take this seriously. And if you don't take it seriously, it's because you are concealing what Allah has revealed to you. This is the miracle of the Quran. This is the miracle that is the Quran. There is nothing like it in the world. There is nothing. Believe me, there is nobody can reproduce this level of nonsense. It's a challenge that I believe no one can. No one can produce something like this. Yet Allah claims that the surah confirms the revelation in the Torah, and only deceptive, proud, and arrogant Jews would deny this. Would deny these doubtless words of Allah. Or maybe the Jews changed it. They changed it. Maybe they did. Maybe, who knows? The evil Jews, maybe they changed it. Okay? And then Allah makes the claim that, that Islam is the true religion of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They were all Muslims. They were not Jews. They were not Christians. They were Muslims. Verse 124. And when his Lord tried Abraham with commands and he fulfilled them, he said, indeed, I have established you a leader for mankind. And then Abraham said, what about my descendants? And then Allah said, my covenant does not include wrongdoers. This is something funny about the Quran, because the Quran here is saying that the covenant that God made with Abraham does not include his descendants. So God's agreement with Abraham does not. So that means the promise of Abraham does not. Of course, we all know the promise of Abraham. Through you shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Let me read it. From our corrupted Bible, of course. Let me read the promise to Abraham as it is contained in our Bible. Genesis 22, verse 17-19. I will surely bless you and give you as many descendants as stars in the sky. There will be as many people as sands on the seashore, and your people will live in cities that they will take from their enemies. Every nation on earth will be blessed through your descendants. I will do this because you obeyed me. That is the promise, right? Through you shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Also, we have the place where God says to Abraham, any person who blesses you is blessed, any person who curses you is cursed. And we believe that this blessing extends to Abraham, passed the blessing on to Isaac. Isaac passed it on to Jacob, right? But according to the Quran, that is not the case, right? That is what the Quran said. Yet, in verse 122, of the Quran, it is written, O children of Israel, remember my favor with which I favored you and how I preferred you over the worlds. Allah, I have a question. Why did you prefer the children of Israel? What was the rationale behind the children of Israel, the Jews, being special? What made them special? What favor with which did you favor them that made them unique from every other nation on the planet? Why was that the case? If not for the blessing of Abraham. So it's like the Quran would take something from the Bible and yet not understand that. And it's like a claim in the Bible. The Quran will affirm the claim. And then the basis for that claim in the Bible, the Quran will reject it. So the Quran will accept that the Jews are favored, that God has favored the children of Israel. And then it denies the basis upon which that claim was made in the Bible. That is what we are dealing with. That is the contradiction we are dealing with in the Quran. Muslims, how do you explain this? How is it that on one end, God's covenant with Abraham was ended with Abraham? Okay, Abraham asked God, okay, but what about my descendant? And Allah was like, my covenant does not include wrongdoers. Right? That's what Allah says to Abraham. Yet we understand that in the Bible, despite how many times the children of Israel disobeyed God, the reason why God did not completely wipe them out was because you will hear it repeatedly in the Bible. You will see it repeated. God remembered the covenant he made to Abraham. He remembered the covenant he made to Abraham. He remembered the covenant he made to Abraham. God was blessing them not because of what they did, or God was sparing them not because of what they did, but because of his agreement with Abraham. And the funny thing is that the Quran recognizes that. It recognizes that, yeah, these people are special. They are favored. They are highly favored. It recognizes that, yes, these people disobey God all the time. Many opportunities are given to them, yet they disobey over and over again. And because of God's favor, they are not completely wiped out. And that favor is because of Abraham. But yet it's like, no, it's not because of Abraham. How do you explain that? Then you have verse 125. And when we made the house, this is talking now, this part is talking about how Abraham was the one as the original Muslim, right? The OG Muslim, the first of his kind. You know, he was like the Melimel of Islam. In verse 125 of the Quran, it says, and when we made the house a refuge, there's my mouse, a refuge for mankind and sanctuary, take as a place of prayer the place where Abraham stood, and we impose a duty upon Abraham and Ishmael, purify my house for those who go around it and those who meditate it and those who bow down and prostrate themselves. So Abraham and Ishmael were commanded. They built the house and they maintained it. And you can see it in the tafsir of when you get the link to these slides and you click this link, you see where it is explained. And also the Qibla, that is the place where Muslims face when they are praying, is Mecca, right? It's the same Mecca. And this Mecca is very special because that is where Abraham's footprint is on a rock over there. And, you know, that is where, you know, the vicinity, the entire area of the sacred mosque, what is it? The Kaaba, right? The Kaaba, the sacred mosque, everything about it is built by Abraham, preserved by Abraham. That place is blessed. The whole vicinity is blessed. And that is where God has ordained as a place of worship. And he ordained it to Abraham and Ishmael. Didn't even mention Isaac. Who the hell is Isaac? Ishmael, right? Ishmael, the first son. And then he also makes the claim in, I'm going to come back to this verse, so keep this in mind. He also makes the claim in 136, verse 136 makes the claim that Moses, Jesus, all the prophets, we are all Muslims, okay? And that there's nothing there's nothing Muhammad is revealing in the Quran that was not revealed to these Muslims, that was not revealed to Jesus, Moses, Abraham, Ishmael. It was the same old, nothing new. It's the same thing. Okay, verse 135 says Abraham's religion, Islam. That is what it is. That's the claim that the Quran makes. Now here is something funny. Yet in 144, this is what verse 144 says. We have seen the turning of your face to heaven. Now the you here or the your here is Muhammad, right? Not any other person. The you here is Muhammad. So when we are reading this, have that understanding. We have seen the turning of your face to heaven. And now indeed, we will make your turn towards a Qibla that is dear to you. So turn your face towards the sacred mosque. And you, wherever you may be, turn your face towards it. Indeed, those who have received the book know this is the truth from their Lord. And Allah is not unaware of what they do. So, this verse is talking about the changing of the Qibla, because prior to now, when Jews are praying and when, you know, they pray facing Jerusalem, right? And Muhammad is like, the previous verse before 144 was like, I'm changing, or Allah is like, I'm changing the position, the direction. And where am I changing it to? I am changing it to the place that is dear to you. Dear to who? Dear to Muhammad. That is the place it is changing it to. I'm changing it to a place that is dear to you. And where is that place that is dear to you? The sacred mosque, the Kaaba, Mecca. So the question is, when Muslims are facing Mecca in their prayer, is it because in that place is a house that Allah ordained for Abraham, Abraham, Ishmael, and Moses and Jesus? Or is it because it is a place that is dear to Muhammad? Which is it? Because when it comes to the reason why there is a changing of the Qibla, is the reason given by Allah is not, this is the place that I ordained for Abraham. This is a place that is dear to you. So, because a reasonable person will be like, okay, the reason to be given is, I have ordained this to Abraham, to Ishmael, to those before you, to Musa, to Isa, all of them, right? And this is why you should return to praying facing this direction when you pray. It will make sense. I'll be like, okay. But then it's like, no, I'm changing this direction because Muhammad likes that place. Then he raises the question, is it not in my mind, and in the mind of, I believe, any sensible person, is Nah, I think why Mecca is special is because it is dear to Muhammad. Why all these stories about Mecca is because it is dear to Muhammad. It has nothing to do with the actual truth of that place. Because if is that rare Freudian slip where the real intention is exposed. This has nothing to do with all these stories of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob being from Mecca and somehow finding themselves in Jerusalem, and which was never mentioned in the Quran, by the way, or in Israel, in the land of Israel. It has to do with the fact that this is a place that is special or dear to the heart of Muhammad. That is why this place is now all of a sudden special. I think when it comes to this is a rare moment of abrogation, where it is not a command that is abrogated, rather it is a story. At this point, Allah Himself is changing his story because he wants because he wants to fulfill the desires of Muhammad. And I noted here that the Qibla now has to face Mecca, but not because that's where God ordained for Abraham to build the Kaaba, but because that's a place that is dear to Muhammad. If Abraham, Isaac, Ishmael, Jesus, etc., we are Muslims, all buried in Mecca, then the Qibla should have always been facing Mecca. It should. But none of these stories exist in the Bible. Mecca is never mentioned in the Bible. God's covenant with Abraham extended to Jews and to Christians through Jesus. The Quran denies this, yet claims that the Jews have been uniquely favored by God. Mecca was a deserted place. I said Mecca was a deserted place for most of its history. No city existed there, even in the supposed time of Muhammad. That's historically. The story of the Kaaba and the Qibla contradicts each other. In one, God ordained it for Abraham. In the other, God followed the desires of Muhammad. Allah seems confused. He borrows from the Bible without understanding what he is borrowing. So I'm kind of in this place summarizing all the contradictions that I noticed. Yet verse 140 says, do you say that Abraham and Ishmael and Isaac and Jacob and the tribes were Jews or Christians? Say, do you know best, or does Allah? And who is more unjust than the one who hides a testimony? Another instance of Christians and Jews being accused of hiding our revelation. The one who hides a testimony which he has received from Allah. Allah is not unaware of what you do. So Allah's defense for all the contradictions we have pointed out is that Jews and Christians are hiding the testimony we have received from Allah. Received from Allah. If only Allah, the Omniscient, could be nice enough to show where these evil Jews and lost Christians are hiding their incredibly confusing testimony. I mean, I'm just wishing that Allah would tell us, show us where exactly this testimony that is the same with what is in the Quran is hidden, so that the issue can be settled once and for all. I will know who is lying and who is telling the truth. But I guess at the end of the day, Allah knows best, and his method is to test us. Okay? He's trying to test us. And I'm gladly failing that test. And I said, maybe the best way to explain this is in verse 106. We do not abrogate or cause to be forgotten anything of our revelation unless we bring something better or like it. Or do you not know that Allah is able to do all things? He's able to do all things, including stupid things. This verse introduced the concept of abrogation. So the Qibla verse is probably an abrogation of the Old Testament command for Jews to pray facing Jerusalem, as seen in verse 142 and 145 of Surah 2. And anyone who questioned this is a loser. And despite Allah abrogating commands from the Bible, he still says in verse 146, this is another interesting thing. Allah is abrogating commands. Allah is changing things. Allah is bringing new commands that changes what he has before. He can't make up his mind. He's not sure whether you should go left or go right. He keeps changing. 1 minute is do it this way. The other minute is do it that way. Right? And yet he's saying, to those whom we gave the book, recognize this as they recognize their son. But indeed, a part of them knowingly conceal the truth. So I want to understand. We, the Jews and Christians, we have a book already written. Okay? There is no addition to our book. Our book is already written. The Gospels already written. The Torah already written. Right? And then these are conclusive commands are written in the Gospels. Conclusive commands are written in the Torah. There is no changing of what is already there. is there. Then Allah comes through Muhammad, changes the command, changes them, abrogates them, says don't face Jerusalem, face Mecca, and then turns to us and say, you have this change in your book. Wait, you're abrogating something that is in our book and still telling us that the thing you just changed is in our book. Contradictions, ladies and gentlemen. Contradictions. Anyway, this is my summary of everything. And I cannot believe that I've gone for 1 hour, 41 minutes. In summary, and of course, I was hoping that there will be a part 2 of this, but after how boring this first part is, I'm not sure I'm going to do a part 2, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe I should do a poll. Let me do a poll right now. This is going to be a short poll. And you guys should let me know if you want a part 2. If you want a part 2, then we'll do it. If you don't, we won't. Let me make a poll. Should there be a part? Should there be a part? Should there be a part 2? All right, vote, guys. Vote if you're with us live right now. Make your vote. Make your voices hard and not hard, hard. I don't know how it is pronounced. Make it. Do you know in Nigeria both hard and hard are pronounced the same way? Nigerian English to the word. Anyway, in summary, this Surah 2 is a chapter of contradictions and meaningless borrowings. But Jews who doubt it, Jesus Christ, what am I writing? But Jews who doubt it, but Jews who doubt it are concealing the truth that it contradicts, and Allah has blinded their heart, or Allah has blinded his heart. Yet Allah will punish him. I think what I want to write here is the Jew who doubts it is concealing the truth. Sorry. The Jew who doubts it is concealing. Okay, in summary, what is this surah? In summary, Surah 2 is a chapter of contradictions and meaningless borrowings, but the Jew who doubts it is concealing the truth that it contradicts, and Allah has blinded his heart. Yet Allah will punish him, and Allah has made some changes to the Jewish scriptures. Yet the Jews can confirm that nothing has changed because these changes are also in their scriptures, and you can't challenge Allah because he knows best. And if you still think he doesn't know best, then produce a surah as stupid and ridiculous as Surah 2. Also, Alif Lam Mim. You may have heard of speaking in tongues, but in Islam, Allah writes in tongues. Alhamdulillah. So that brings my rant or my Quran study to an end. Any question? Any question? Abdullah, this is your chance, but you are not here. Any question? Meanwhile, let me just read some of the super chats that we've received as well. This is from KS. He said, hi from Greece. Since that video about the safe country for a black woman, I wonder if you want to come and see for yourself. Thank you. One day I will. One day I will. One day I would love to come and see for myself. I don't know if you people know the video she's talking about. Is this one of those videos that I made that went super viral, where I was reacting to a black woman? And the funny thing is, she's a Nigerian. The lady who made that video is a Nigerian. I think a Nigerian in the UK. I'm not sure. It was the story around that video. So many stories around that video. It's just interesting. After I made the video, the lady even reached out to me and said that she's going to pull the video out from YouTube. Yeah, she threatened that she's going to strike, give the video a copyright strike. She actually did. She actually did. But YouTube said, nah, fair use. Fair use. YouTube had my back, you know. And that was when I decided that I was going to continue posting on YouTube, because I posted that video on Twitter and she reported the video, made a silly report, and I was locked out of my Twitter account. I was like, are you serious? And they were like, you either appeal and wait so number of days and not be able to use your Twitter, or you delete it. And I was like, you know what? I'm a small account. How many followers do I have then? About 200. Even now, I still have less than 1,000 because you guys are not following me. You know. Anyways, so I was like, you know what? I don't have the clout for this. I don't. So I just deleted the video. And she clowned me on Twitter. Jesus, the lady clowned me on Twitter. She was like, ha 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 ha. He has deleted it. Ha 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 ha. Man, I just ignored her. So yeah, but on YouTube the thing was going places, and so many people, their first encounter with the Nigerian perspective was me criticizing a Nigerian in the UK who went to Greece and other places in Europe and was crying racism. And I think it was an interesting video. I didn't know it would do well, but I ended up doing well. That was when I was like, maybe I'm funny. And this is from Boring Opinion LMP. He said, Middle East Witness is with us to translate Arabic. He has not sent. Well, the live stream is almost over, so there's that. Sorry, maybe he has sent me a message and I didn't see it because my phone is on silent. And this is from Dan. Oh man, thank you for the 52. Is it euro or pounds? I can't tell. They all look the same to me. Anyway, here's your Zionist donation. Love, Daniela from Holland. So I take it that's euro. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And let me see if we have questions. And just with the suggestion again, she's saying CP, Christian Prince and Frank will be funny together. I will try and see if we can make it happen. Look, I get all the people you want me to collaborate with. And believe me, I am some I have not tried to reach out to, but I have a list. I've made a list of all the names you said I should do an interview with, and I'm like, okay, I'll try and see if I can, deliver, because I'm here for you guys. What else am I doing here if not to make you people happy? To please my Zionist puppet masters, okay? That's what I exist for. So that's why I was created. And this is from Jamel. Is that how your name is pronounced? Or Jamla. Anyway, Nigeria will soon be Islamic land. You know it. Don't do this type of videos. Well, we'll see. We'll see. It will not be easy. It will not be easy, especially as long as Eastern Nigeria remains. It will not be easy for Nigeria to just become. If there was no Eastern Nigeria, this country would have been an Islamic country for a very long time. Not even now. Okay, the hindrance to that is just the East, because the East has refused and rejected Islam vehemently and in the most aggressive way. So there's that. What is going on? What is going on in the comments? People are fighting. King of Current said, your prophet is who are you referring to? King of Current. Who is saying something that? Oh, is this? Oh, it's our friend that is saying the things he's saying. Oh, let him talk. Let him talk. Let him talk. He said, give a shout out to South African viewers. We appreciate you. Hey, to my my number one fan is a South African. Jazz is 700 Nigerians to me. 700 Nigerians. She's 700 Nigerians to me. This satellite can say, my dear Nigerian, please go. Oh, is it you that they are? Oh, maybe it's not Jamel. Sorry, if it was you and not Jamel. Sorry, Jamel, for thinking it was. My dear Nigerian, please go see a dentist and then make videos as much as you want. Right now, you are scaring kids. Are your children complaining? Jamal, you are your child brides, your sister, your fourth wife, the 6-year-old that you married. Is she complaining? You shouldn't be watching this type of videos with her. Oh, and if she's complaining, I don't think it's my videos that are scaring her. I think it's you that is scaring her. Flicking Bullocks is suggesting that I make Jazz a moderator. Jazz, do you want to be a moderator? If yes, I will make you. I'll make you a moderator right now. Right now, I'll make you a moderator. Actually, I have to Google how to make someone a moderator. It's not I have to Google it. Sorry, I use modern software and tools like an old man. I'll have to Google it first. What else? King of Current said Jam and Khan Abdus, not Abdus for. It's true. Maybe they changed maybe Abdullah was like it's just one person, but if I have two accounts, it will be more effective. Well, so far so good. Oh, Jess, is this you are accepting? She's accept. Okay, okay. I will do something. I don't know how it is done, but I will after this live stream make you a moderator. I'll figure it out, and I'll make him so you can ban up all the Abduls. Don't ban them. I really want to see the things that they say. I want to, I want to see the things that they say. Guys, give me a second. There's something I need to do right now. Sorry about that. I needed to check something. As you can see, some of the lights are turned off, and they were turned off because, well, let me not give you all the details. And yes, we'll have to wrap up, guys. It has been a blast. It has been a blast hanging with you guys. I don't know how many minutes I have before the things that I turned off will start affecting the people, or maybe they won't. Who knows? But let's see how long we can stay. Anyways, so where was I? What was I saying? We were talking about moderators and stuff, and all the Abduls that instead of coming up with something to refute the argument I'm making or the points that I'm making, they resort to insults and complaining about my dentition. Huh? I'm proud of this my dentition, in case you guys are wondering. I'm not going to do anything about it. I was born this way, and I'm going to keep it like that. If you have a problem with it, if your children, if the children of what's his name, something can, if your children if your female bride are having a problem with it, they just have to deal with it. There's nothing I'm going to do to change it. And we have a super chat from Amit Koren. 50 shekels. So you know this is coming from a Zionist. This is coming from Mossad, okay? The real sponsors of this video. And she said, Frank, you are doing amazing work on this channel. Love from Israel. Thank you. I really appreciate all the encouraging, all the Israelis that have reached out to me. So many of them have reached out to me privately, thanking me. And I'm telling you, it is my pleasure to make these videos, to do this, especially videos I make, defending Israel, especially in this climate where everyone is just anti-Israel for no good reason. It is my pleasure, and I will not stop doing it. Not because of the shekels, okay? Let's be plain. Let's speak plainly. Not because of the shekels, but because it's so weird. It's so weird when something is so true, and yet you see so many people not agreeing to it or finding a problem to just grasp something that is just basically fundamentally true, having a problem with it. And when I look at how the current political climate and how everyone is pro Hamas, essentially not even pro Palestine, but just pro Hamas, is concerning, is problematic, and any sensible good person will stand up for what is right, and that's what I'm doing, and I will keep doing that. And what else? This is time for you guys to comment. Okay, I've not even looked at the comments that are on what is it called, on Instagram, and it's from Khalifa too. Say you are not understanding the Quran and getting contradiction and supposed mistake from thin air. Please find someone to help you. Why don't you help me, Khalifa? Help me out. Help me out. Help me out. Okay? Help me out, Khalifa. You say I'm not understanding. What I'm not bringing out contradictions from thin air. Is there any contradiction that I've pointed out that is from thin air? There is none. I think I make a very good case for why these things are contradictory. Okay? It is contradictory that the Quran is saying, making up stories that are not in the Bible and then claiming that they are from the Bible. And then saying that the Bible cannot be corrupted, and yet making claims that if true will mean that the Bible has been corrupted. So there is that. That is a contradiction, Khalifa. It is a big contradiction. And this is from Emmett. She's saying, this is for Emmett. She said, please remember that this commenter is saying, please remember that that Israel and Jews have the support of all non-Muslims. All? I don't know if you can say all. I mean, I know one that's not supporting Israel. Her name is Brianna Joy Gray. Have you heard of that name? She's a non-Muslim and she doesn't support Israel. And she's filled with black girl magic. This is from Jesse. We love you, Frank, and you make us proud throughout Africa. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Okay. I think we are done here. It's been wonderful going through the Quran. Let's look at our. Hey, 93% said yes. 93% of you said yes. I need to check something. Hey, Roger sent me. I'm just seeing it now. Roger, I'm just seeing your message now. So sorry. I'm just seeing it now. My phone was on vibrate, so I couldn't read messages. There's something I want to check before. So I'm checking my schedule to know if I can, when next the continuation of this live stream will be. Next Friday. No, tomorrow. It will be tomorrow. Share if you have a reason why it should not be tomorrow. Speak now. Send me a message now. I'll be my phone. I'll sit. But tomorrow is when it will be. It will be tomorrow. Except Shana gives me a reason why it should not be tomorrow. It says she gives me a reason right now why it should not. Someone said Brianna Joyless Gray. Yeah, she has. She has. There's a video coming on my channel that will be off by 11 o'clock talking about it. That is in the next hour talking about it. I know that she has been sacked. Is she not giving us a reason? She's not. So it will be tomorrow. It will be. I want to finish. Okay, so maybe not tomorrow. Sorry, guys, I responded. This is so unprofessional. Of course, when you tune into this live stream, you know you are tuning into the most unprofessional live stream in history. Okay, that's what this is about. This is unprofessional. This is unprofessional live stream. That's what we do here. Okay, that's what we do here. So bear with me that I'm checking my phone to see if the objection that I'm the objection that I'm looking for. So bear with me. Okay, Shana is asking who the special guest will be on Friday. Okay, we've come to the who the special guest. It's May. The special guest on Friday may be David Wood. That it may be David Wood. May. So keep your fingers crossed and hopefully you'll get I will notify you when it is possible. If it is possible. Otherwise, it will not be. The special guest may be David Wood. That's who. So yeah, that's I should not respond to this message now. That is what am I saying? Yeah, that is who our special guest may be. All right, I've stayed too long. I've dwelt too long on this mountain. It's now time to break camp. Guys, it has been lovely. This live stream has been awesome. And I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank Jam L. Sorry, but I want to pronounce the L. In Nigeria, we pronounce every letter in somebody's name. Jam L. I want to thank him so much. He's been the best. If not for people like him, I will not be here. I also want to thank what's the name of my other fan? What's his name? What's the name of the other one? Guys, remind me. After Jam, there's someone else. Please remind me. What's his name? Oh, I can't remember his name. The other guy, I also want to thank him. Okay, something can. I want to thank him for making this live stream possible. And I also want to thank Jazz. If not for Jazz and her membership gift, this will not be possible as well. I want to thank Shana. I want to thank Flicking Bullock. Let me not call it flipping again. Let me call it Flicking Bullocks. I want to thank him. I don't know if he's a him or if he's a her. And I've been using him for people that are her. So Jazz is a her. And Shana is a her too. So if I said him, forgive me for using the wrong pronoun. Okay? Sorry. The next thing I'll do now is dead naming. Please bear with me. In the month of Pride, I shouldn't be doing this type of things. So yeah, I want to thank those people, and I want to thank every one of you for joining us on this live stream. Those of you on YouTube, those of you on Instagram who joined, even the ones that are joining now, you guys are awesome. You guys are the best, and I really appreciate you guys. So yes, next week, 14th of June, 8 p.m., we may be having David Wood as a guest. And we'll be discussing, most likely, all these things are tentative. Okay, nothing is, like I said, nothing is written in stone. But there's this thing they say: if you say it to the universe, it's going to happen. Now, I don't believe in the universe, but let me practice something. Okay, I'm open-minded. Come on. So let's say it out. Let's declare to the universe that on Friday, 14th, 8 p.m., I and David Wood will be doing a live show. We'll be talking about jihad. That's what we'll be talking about. Trying to understand jihad. We'll be talking about activities happening in Nigeria, and how what is written in the Quran and what is written in the Hadith explains so many of the concepts in not just Nigeria but Africa. We have, you might be interested to know that it's just not Nigeria that is experiencing jihad. You have Mali, you have Burkina Faso, you have Niger, you have Sudan. I mean, Sudan under the RSF, I think that's what they are called. This is like an Arab Muslim group trying to gradually and systematically kill off the black population in Sudan. That's why you've been hearing of the conflict in Sudan, and they are the majority, and they are systematically wiping out the black Sudanese population. You have that going on too, and the funny thing is that the Arabs. The question is, what are Arabs doing in Sudan? We'll be talking about all of that in the live stream. So look forward to that. And hit the like button, hit it again. Send your comments, not comments not live comment, but comment under the video. When the live stream is over, you can send the link to your friends so that they can watch it. And yeah, let's see how it goes next week. And again, maybe we'll be here again tomorrow to finish off Surah Al-Baqarah, so that our next week will be free for something more interesting. Since 94 of you was like, you want to punish me. I think the people who said yes, they just want to punish me. So yeah, I know, Shana, that you are a her, you are a she. I'm apologizing for using the wrong pronouns. Okay, sorry for using the wrong pronouns. Anyways, and that brings us to the end of this live stream. Thank you guys so much, and until we meet again, peace.